Okay. Okay. Uh, as a host, okay, of this forum, my name is Song Kang, and on behalf of the History NGO Forum for Peace in East Asia and the Thursday Forum Steering Committee, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 135th Global Thursday Forum and our first session of the new year, 2026. Okay. Since 2020, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Global Thursday Forum has served as an online platform for scholars, educators, NGO practitioners, and peace builders to share perspectives on history, conflict reconciliation, and regional cooperation. We are grateful that participants from Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Americas continue to gather here in a spirit of openness, learning, and solidarity. Today's forum addresses a timely and deeply concerning issue in Southeast Asia, the Thailand-Cambodia border dispute, which has recently escalated again, resulting in civilian displacement, humanitarian suffering, and heightened regional tension. While this conflict has a long historical background, recent developments remind us how unresolved border disputes, nationalism, and political pressures can quickly undermine stability and peace. Against this backdrop, we are honored to welcome Dr. Nichan Singhaputargun, a lecturer at Luang University in Thailand, as our guest speaker. Dr. Singhaputargun is a specialist on the Thailand-Cambodia border dispute, and his presentation is entitled Thailand-Cambodia border dispute, current developments and the path toward peace and coexistence. In his talk, Dr. Singhaputargun will examine the historical roots of the dispute, recent developments on the ground, and possible approaches to de-escalation, conflict resolution, and long-term peace building. This is an especially important discussion at this critical moment. We would also hope to include a discussion from the Cambodian side in today's session. While he was unfortunately unable to join us live, uh, uh, he has kindly shared his views and insights in a written contribution. He is our longtime Cambodian partner, Dr. Mr. Yuk Chang, the executive director of the Documentation Center of Cambodia. And we sincerely appreciate his cooperation and engagement. We are also pleased to have Dr. Mikio Oishi, Associate Professor of Politics and International Relations at the Al-Bukhari International University in Malaysia, serving as today's moderator. Dr. Oishi is a long-standing member of our Thursday Forum community, and we are grateful for his guidance in facilitating today's discussion. As always, the Global Thursday Forum seeks not only to analyze conflict, but also to encourage dialogue, mutual understanding, and constructive thinking about peace. We hope today's session will contribute, even in a small way, to deeper reflection on how regional conflicts can be managed responsibly and resolved peacefully. Thank you all for taking the time to join us today. With that, I would now like to invite Dr. Mikio Oishi to begin the session and introduce our speaker. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Sungho-san, for your opening speech, and I'm very much honored to serve as the moderator for today's session and today's presentation by Dr. Nishan Singhaputargun. And actually, he and myself are the long-time colleagues and working together, actually. And so both of us are considered researchers on peace and conflict studies. And today's topic is very, very important, actually. Especially maybe at least from the standpoint of ASEAN, and both of us are the long time scholars on ASEAN, ASEAN issues. And now ASEAN, and after establishing ASEAN community in 2015, ASEAN is supposed to be community, maybe academic term is the security community. Security community means the member countries will not go for war with each other, or very unlikely that country start war. But so now, in my view, in our common view, I think the ASEAN is now very close, approaching this status, yeah? ASEAN security community. And of course, already ASEAN community established 10 years ago, actually, 10 years ago. This one is ASEAN community, and this has the three pillars: ASEAN and political security community, ASEAN economic community, and ASEAN socio-cultural community, three pillars. And then these three pillars consist of ASEAN community. And then ASEAN countries are supposed to be family members. Although they may have some quarrels, maybe like within family, maybe small quarrel, but still they should have developed the common feeling that we are family members. But now this issue, and so the two countries are now openly engaged in armed exchange. So this is a rather serious problem. But anyway, and this conflict had a long history since the colonialism, and by France, French colonialism in Indochina. Then after that, a long history. So now it's a good time for us to review this conflict, yeah? And especially as Nichan, and also including myself, and the peace and conflict researcher, especially how to manage the conflict. No, not promoting one country's national interest. Although Dr. Nishan is a Thai citizen, but definitely he has developed a very and neutral, even-handed, but very compassionate approach to conflict. So I'm looking forward to today's presentation. Maybe briefly, I introduce him and his background. He did a PhD at the university, what? Brunei Darussalam, yes, and in Asian studies, and okay, and now he's currently a lecturer at the School of Social Innovation in Mae Fah Luang University in northern Thailand. I visited his campus a few years ago. It's a very nice campus. I think it's Thailand's most eco-friendly campus. So I strongly encourage you to visit his campus. Yeah, it's very nice. Also, there are some of my student. Also, I want to encourage my student to visit there, or maybe consider starting the master's studies at Dr. Nishan's university. Yeah, it's a very nice place. But anyway, and So he published extensively in conflict issues, mostly in Southeast Asia. And among his work is a book chapter, the Thailand, Cambodia, Priya Vihia Temple Dispute. This is now the hot spot, not hot spot in the current conflict. And so he contributed this chapter. So he's a very authoritative researcher on this topic. Also he published many other issues, and the let me and also he's also a former director of Asian Research Center for International Development at the Mayfalong University. Now I think he after this position, now I think he's in a position to focus on more research. So maybe jointly and with me and other people. He also lead the Thailand peace and conflict studies network in Thailand. Yeah? So he's a leading figure on peace and conflict studies now. Okay, so without much ado about this one, so I'd like to open the floor to Dr. Nishan. So the microphone is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me this chance again. Actually, this is my second time. My first time was 3 years ago when there was a student protest, and Mikio asked me to explain about the situation that time. And this year again, I'm very glad to be here again. And thank you, Mikio, for your kind words about me. And hopefully that today I can share something. I'm not the expert. I just sharing my view, and my talk today. It will be in the lens of peace conflict studies. It's not in the lens mostly in political science or international relations or international law. So it will be in peace conflict studies. All right. And I would say it would be very interesting. Let me share in Thai. Do you see the screen? You see my PowerPoint,
Yes,
right?
yes. I can.
Okay.
Maybe you may make it larger, maybe,
Larger.
if possible. Yeah, better.
Better?
Yes, definitely better. Okay.
Why I can't see you all? Wait a second. Can you? Was great. Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so today my topic is about Thailand-Cambodia border dispute, current development, and path toward peace and coexistence. It's very interesting. Two things. It's very interesting based on people who study in Asian study and ASEAN studies. First thing, I think there are two main scholars focus on the successful of ASEAN or the failure of ASEANs. And I think one of the people who support why ASEAN is failure is the coming from the case of Thailand and Cambodia since 2018. So for the people who seen this is a successful, I mean, since it has establishment, I would say me and Mikio is one of the group of that. Okay. And second thing that I would like to highlight is that have you ever imagined why only Thailand that has border dispute, I mean, with a big crash with Cambodia. We also have border dispute with Malaysia. We also have border dispute with, Laos or even Myanmar. There are some undemarcated boundaries. But why we have crash and we have war and it destroy the ASEAN way of ASEANs? I would leave these questions to you, and I hope that my presentations will review these questions. But before that, my content today, I will categorize it into about 5 topics. The first topic is about the analytical framework. I will use the analytical framework to understand and explain about the situations. Second point, I will try to tell about the overview because it's the long time since the colonization eras, and it has a lot of historical issues there. And I try to review it nicely and not too long. So the overview of the border dispute. And the third topic is about the current development. And almost the last one is about conflict management, past until the present. And the last one is my own ideas, my own idea. And I think in peace conflict studies, creativities and win-win situations and coexistence, we need new dimensions to learn more of each other. So this would be all my topics. So let me start with my analytical framework. I start with the questions. Of course, two questions that have been asked in terms of ASEAN and in terms of Thailand boundary already with neighboring country. Now I ask about the situations, the phenomenons. Why conflict, violence, or war take place? This is my first analytical questions. What are the trigger points or escalations to these situations since 2018 until currently last year? And what is the cause of the conflict? How to resolve it? Do we really resolve it? Or we just manage it? What is needed? Maybe something else like the new approach in the School of Peace Conflict Studies, like transformations. So are there any possible models that I can suggest? So I would like to start with my analytical framework, as I already informed all of you that I'm not political scientist. I'm in peace conflict studies. So my approach was starting from peace conflict study approach, starting from I will not judge any sides. I will just explain based on positions. So to understand what is conflict, I use the concept of incompatibilities to see what the positions that become incompatible between those two countries, in what degree. Then after that, I would try to use the conflict mapping analysis to highlight different issues, starting from the summaries of the problems, starting from the actors, starting from the issue, the context, going to the conflict management, the failure of conflict management, the successful conflict management. And then after that, I will try to touch upon from different slides that how it impacts many issues based on human security that turns people of two countries into insecurities. But the most important thing that I would try to highlight that now in the era of conflict management, we just only manage the situations. We haven't yet to, resolve the conflicts or stop the war. People still afraid about the situations that no one trusts Cambodia sides. And I think in the same way, Cambodia side also do not trust us as well. So the most important way is how do we transform it? When we talk about transformations, we try to say that how to bring sustainable peace, meaning not negative peace, but positive peace. How can we remove this root cause? Because this root cause has been since the colonization eras. So let me start with my first topics about the overview. So Thailand, of course, you might heard about the situations of Pravi here, and that is the first series of conflict that started after Thailand lost vicinities since the ICJ rules long time ago, 50, 60 years ago in 1962. But the Cambodia starting again in the Pravia Pagoda start during the time in 2008 when the political parties in Thailand, leading by red-shirt people, red-shirt government administrations, have a very good relationship with the Hun Sen administrations, and they try to promote this area by using borderless issues, by using economic development as the way to transcendence the dispute, by overlook the issues of the border dispute, by using something else, it's leading to creative economy of the Hun Sen administrations to support the Pravia Pagoda as the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And that time, Also, we trying to stop the disputes since 2000. So we have the MOU called MOU 43, which is very um, disputable now in Thai society, whether we should have or not. Currently, we're going to have the elections next month, and some political party leaders, they are debating whether we should have the MOU 43 or not. Just give some footnotes to you in these matters. And of course, since 2008 until 2011, if you notice in Thailand, there are a lot of instability in political situations. So it takes turns of civilian government and military government. So the situation starting even in 2008, changing of the political parties from the red shirt to the blue colors, like Democrat Party leading by Abhisit Mecha Shiva as a prime minister, which is totally opposite foreign policies with Hun Sen, which is different from Thaksin administration that time. But anyway, the situation carry on until there is a big crash, not as this time is bigger, but that time it was very small one. But anyway, it's a starting point for people who study ASEAN and ASEAN way, that is it ASEAN way has been destroyed. The non-interference principle, the tolerance, all the issues of the ASEAN way has been destroyed. Anyway, a part of the dispute on land, we also have the dispute on the maritime law as well. So in this kind of case, you can see the conflict between Thailand and Cambodia is not just really on land. So that's why we also try to manage or resolve this situation with the MOU 44, because we have some example already with the maritime issues with Malaysia, or we have the agreements, so-called the JDA. So we try to do the same. So that's why we come up with the MOU 44, which again become very disputable in Thai societies. And still now, we still have no way out. So I will try to clarify this point more. So why I'm telling you all this is based on the conflict mapping analysis to highlight that all this problem is about the root cause of the conflict. So where is the root cause of the conflict? As the chair already mentions about the French that occupy the Khmer Empire, the Cambodia, long time ago before the end of the World War II, and then Thailand police force decided to occupy after French give independence to Cambodia, but the map that they used still overlappings. So the main incompatibilities here, based on the book that I have in Mikio here, based on the Thailand-Cambodia Pravihir Temple dispute, it past, present, and futures, there are incompatibilities about the map and the treaties. The treaty 1904 mentioned clearly that which area based on which terrain, Phnom Dong Rak terrains, belong to Thailand or belong to Cambodia. In the beginning, the Pravia Pagoda is located, based on 1904, it's located in the Thailand territories. However, at some of the content in 1904 mentioned that we do not have the map to clarify it. So in that case, they have the commissions that both sides agree that we should design a map. So in that kind of thing, it transformed to 1907's agreement. And in that 1907's, they have another map. And that kind of map, it is called Annex 1 map. And that's Annex 1 map. Unfortunately, it's not related to the 1907 agreement. The locations of the pagoda is not located in the temple in Thailand territory anymore, in Siam territory anymore. So that is the first incompatibilities, and Thailand keeps silence, and whatever so on is going on, it's already passed. Another incompatibility is that the civilizations, the technologies of mapping process in the old days, in that time, and nowadays is totally different. If you take a look at my pictures there, there's 1 to 50,000 and 1 to 200,000. This kind of map is related to mapping process and the scaling of the map. It's telling that the details of the Annex 1 map in the past is very large. It's too large. It's not precisely telling where exactly it should be. So currently, Thailand adopting the one scale to 50,000, which is more precise. That has become another incompatibilities. So that's why it's related to MOU 43 and MOU 44 that I mentioned earlier, because the MOU is seen as a tool of conflict management to sort out these incompatibilities. However, it's debatable by many scholars and by many politicians. So this is the main incompatibility. From now on, when I mention the word incompatibilities, I mean it's a conflict. So when I see conflict as a space that we can find a way. Conflict is not a bad thing, but violence or war is a bad thing. So when I mention incompatibility equal to conflict, I see that there are incompatible positions of two countries at least 5 issues. The first issue is about sovereignty claims by overlapping territorial and agreement I mentioned. But the cultural violence that beneath all the sovereignty and independence is about cultural and historical heritage claim that is superior. You can see there are things and that there are something about corn or whatever so on that are debating that which one is the first place that originated. They also go in details about local livelihood and human insecurities. There's a lot of problems happen between the borders. Many Thai also, I mean, people who live in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, or Bangkok, they do not stay in the border area. But people who stay in the border areas like, Surin or whatever so on there,
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Okay. Would you restore the start again, please? Okay.
can you see my slide now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay,
No
thank you.
problem.
So
Okay.
where was I? The sovereignty or the cultural heritage? Number 2 or number 3? Number
Number
3, right?
two. Yeah.
Or number 2.
Okay.
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 So
Number 2.
I'm talking about the cultural heritage that they are uh, competing who is on the heritage of the culture. Then coming to number 3 is about local livelihoods. And I think people who live in Chiang Rai, Chiang Mai, or Bangkok, they do not live in the border area. People who live in the border area, they know they are friends, their family, their economics, their life is there. So it's big impact to their livelihoods. So it become incompatible about people who live in the border area, not the government, and the government, they have different incompatibilities. So then the 4th point is about the way that they're managing conflict. Since 2008 until currently, Thailand always trying to manage the conflict by bilateral. But Cambodia tried to use international communities by using multilateral all the ways, all the times. And I remember the time when Apisit Vechashiwa mentions that we want to sort out these problems bilaterally because it's about ASEAN way. And again, the perceptions and the implication, the meaning of ASEAN way has been used by the nation state. Although ASEAN, as the central organization, has a high council to resolve these issues, but then one member state saying that this is the internal issue, this is non-interference, even though the ASEAN headquarters cannot intervene the regional organizations that Thailand and Cambodia ratified. So it become another controversial issues in the ASEAN issues. And number 5 is about the undemocrated segment. There's some place that's still never been democrated, but it's very little, about less than 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers at most. So these all become the incompatibility that's going on right now in Thai society and Cambodia. Okay, why it's not moving? Okay. Sorry, it's... Okay, so I try to wrap up everything that to see the timelines. So since 1904 and 1907, we have the Franco-Siamese treaties, and there is a mapping process and incompatibility going on that time. And it's been sorted out by the ICJ, International Court of Justice. And ICJ do not rules whether which area completely to resolve the conflict. It just mentions that the pagoda itself belongs to Cambodia, while the vicinities, it need to be discussed by both sides. And that's why both countries decided to design the conflict resolution mechanism, which bring to the MOU 43 and 44 as the way to sort out the situations. I will highlight out later. Then the situations transform because of the Thai internal politics, that linkage politics with Cambodia in terms of economics and developments. So they Thai side supporting the UNESCO to list this up and using this to promote what's so-called borderless issues. Then it transformed again because of the situation after 2011, after Yingluck Shinawatra was removed, and then Prayut Chan-o-cha came to power. The outlook, the mindset, the positions of military to control the government and to handle the Cambodia issue and Thai issue is different. The Prayut Chan-o-cha, who usually to be the commander, the chief of commander during Yingluck administrations, not supportly when Minister Marty of Indonesia trying to solve the problem nicely. At the end, Prayut Chan-o-cha is the person who denied the observer from ASEAN to get in before he committed the military coup. Anyway, so that is the situation that transformed until 2025. So I want to go to current development a little bit, that I want to use the concept of linkage politics that I mentioned a little bit already, that when it comes to civilian government, and they have the mindset to transform border conflict between Thailand and Cambodia by using economic development. So Thaksin and Hun Sen, they believe that they have the idea of 7 provinces of Thailand and 7 provinces of Cambodia. 7 provinces in Thailand is a half crescent, and the other half in Cambodia is another crescent, so it becomes a circle. So that circle transcends Paria province and Sisakhet province. In that time, only 2 provinces of these 2 countries are the issue of the conflict, not like today that it escalates to along the borders. So that's the problems. So these situations transform because of the linkage politics. I believe that why I set up some questions, why this problem never happens when it comes to the Prayut military government, why this issue never happened during the time of Democrat Party led by Abhisit Vejashiva, why it only happens with the red shirt government administrations. So the linkage politics saying that internal politics of one country, the domestic issue, become related. And you can see one observation is that once Ung Ing, Prime Minister, daughter of Thaksin, was removed from power by the court, the Thai court, by the Constitutional Court, then Hun Sen has no more evidence or has no more tools, way to attack Thai societies. Then he quit, he stopped to attack Thai society after new administration come to power. Anyway, this is like the brief introductions. I will go in detail later. But more the thing that I would like to focus here, in peace conflict study, I do not say that Thai Prime Minister Ung is wrong, although the court mentioned that she, instigate, she destroyed the Thai sovereignties. But I'm trying to look based on negotiation power. And I want you to think in my analysis. If you know someone like in this forum, in this network, and you be able to connect and you be able to talk to bring the situation down, would you do that? Would you use your own relationship to do that? And I think most of politicians or the leader in many countries, they also do that. The problem is that there is the recording things. That is the nasty things that happens. Anyway, so I try to analyze based on the book. It is called the Getting to Yes by the Harvard approach. So they're trying to say that there are two kind of negotiators, hard negotiator and soft negotiators. The principle is saying that if the hard negotiation is that if I'm tough, I increase the chance of favorable, but decrease the chance of agreement. But if you're a soft negotiator, if I am soft, I increase the chance of an agreement, but decrease the chance of favorable one. So in this case, I think Ing decided to use a soft negotiation. That's why she mentions to Hun Sen as uncle. So she's using the relationship to manage the situations. So in this case, the connections, the relationship of linkage politics of the prime minister, her fathers, and even Hun Manet is a son, like friends of two families. So I think she is using these kind of things to to manage the situations. But the situations go hands in hand, house of hands. Because I think Hun Sen usually uses this strategy with Thailand when election is coming to Cambodia and trying to raise the nationalisms in Cambodia to come back. And one of the issue, because Cambodia cannot live without Thailand economic developments. So Hun Sen asked many times that just open the border. But Thailand and Southeast Asia people, they're very emotionalized. They are not rationalized. And then once the word spill out, like Hun Manet is unprofessional. And Hun Sen is like, saying that I already opened the border, but why you didn't open the border? So it's like miscommunication in the linkage administration between army and government, Ing government as well. So I think she is using soft negotiations. So now I try to touch upon many issues, the current affairs, what is going on right now. You can see that there is the military that play a lot of important point now in Thai society. The orange power that going to win the elections now, they say that, some problem happened in the campaign that do we need to have military? And now it's flipping the coin. The balance of power of the orange power and the red shirt and even the conservative side flip the coin. That maybe we really need military now. And now it's the military industrialized complex based on the grievance that we can see more budgets coming on. We can see the role of military more. People are supporting military, supporting conservative sides more. Also, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well. There's more role of two sides that they, competing each other. We do not know what is right or what is wrong based on the conceptual framework. So the analytical framework just saying that Thailand saying one thing and Cambodia saying another things. Not just the ministry, but also the people. People both sides also have different positions, very clear. So they believe in what they believe that this territory belongs to Cambodia and this territory is belong to Thailand. So that is not the agenda that I'm trying to say today. The agenda is how we can live together and how and what would bring people to live together. After several crash, Cambodia trying to use the same move like happens in 2008 until 2011 by addressing this point to UNSC. But this time is totally different. The UNSC hasn't declared to open the UNSC like the last time, but it just opened the closed group and asked the press to get some interview, but not the full official UNSC meeting. ASEAN as well, I think ASEAN is trying to do many things. which is totally different from the time when Marty trying to do a lot of things. I think the role of ASEAN in 2008 and 2011 is more active, more than current position that Malaysia is taking role, and I will discuss that later in later slide. Again, we have seen the role of great power like US and China as well, trying to intervene. Of course, it's related to Indo-Pacifics and the One Belt and One Road initiative. It's related to what I may say Seneca Pact and Americana Pact that trying to take the positions in Southeast Asia. But what I'm trying to say here that I would like to take you to these diagrams to see that since what I'm explaining is starting from nothing, it's starting from latent conflict, but now the conflict start to emerge. Once conflict emerge, meaning there is incompatible position of two countries clearly, there are incompatibility of 5 topics that have been mentioned before: people, military, ministry, great power. It has been divided by incompatibilities. Since conflict escalated, once conflict escalated to war of two violence, then ASEAN tried to intervene. Once ASEAN intervene, great power intervene, conflict seems to de-escalate, but it's not lasting, all right? So you can see that since 2008 and 2011, conflict just only one side in Pravihia Pagoda. But now you can see that why conflict split to at least 4 or 5 areas. What is going on? Now, you might say that we have agreement, ASEAN agreement, US try to be mediator by using caution mediations, using economic to suppress two countries. China come at the end to trying to wrap up many things. So dispute may settlement, but there is no post-conflict. There is no peace building yet. So right now, if I present this topic in Thailand, not with your peer, I will be, in Thai society, they call, I will be blamed. That's why you are saying this thing, because the nationalisms, it's very powerful in Thailand now. If I say, let's find solutions together. Now, what is going on that the news saying that children from Cambodia would like to continue their education in Thai society, but now the border is closed. Some humanitarian issues like medical issues, like someone need medical service from Thai societies, but then Thai people, the television reporters go to ask the people in that border area asking, do you let people who need medical accessibilities or education to come to Thailand? They say no. That is what's going on in Thai society, and peace conflict study need time. It's not yet to be ready to release what I'm going to present to you later. Anyway, I'm trying to show you that the current situations starting since April, May, June, and in May 28, there are some, fighting. It start up from Cambodia, start to encroaching to Thai border and start to dig the Kool-Aid, the way to the soldier will stay there to stations. So if you take a look at 15 June, Cambodian turned to ICJ after there are a lot of fightings. And then after that, in 28 July, Malaysian trying to hold a talk. And then October, border ceasefire happens, but just only 3 days. And after that, in November, there's a landmine. Many Thai soldiers, now currently, I think about 10 soldiers were lost their legs now, but none of them were Cambodian soldiers. Then in the 8th December, renewed fighting continually. 9 to 14 July, there is some financial support from the US to help both sides. Then if you take a look at the left side, right sides of mine, you can see that how I'm mapping the situations of the conflict dynamic with the situation. So latent conflict is starting from the undemarcated situation. No one, the JBC or whatever so on that they're trying to do, it's still going on, but it's very slow. Then conflict start to emerge the first wave and the second wave that I mentioned. And then it's going up in July and December. It's the stalemate situation until the situation is de-escalated by the negotiation that I've been mentioned before, by ASEAN, by US, by China. But clearly that somebody is trying to do something. ASEAN is trying to do something. China is trying to do something. US trying to do something. Although it is complex interdependence. Although after come back, the Prime Minister of Thailand come back from meeting with Donald Trump. In the meeting, there are some agreement about rare earths is there. Why we haven't known it? Thai people do not know that Thai Prime Minister is signing the rare earth agreement with the US anyway. So dispute settlement and post-conflict peace building is still not there. So I will focus my talk now based on conflict peace building as well. Okay. So the most important thing is the trigger point. Why make these situations continue? There are, I think, 4 points. The first one is about Changbok incidents on May. There are a lot of exchanging file and Thai soldiers was killed. One person was killed that time. The second one is the fight, July fight, rapid escalations with air operation sides. You can see that there is the retaliating, once we lost something, the other side tried to do something else by using the Gripen and the F-16 to drop the bombs. And then after that, it escalated. The Cambodian side decided to use PM2 landmine as the new strategies, to destroy the Thai armies. After that, in December, again, re-erupted after many talks, the Trump's mediations, Chinese also trying to do something, ASEAN tried to do something, but then it never happens until the 24th or 27th December that China hosted the agreement and stopped. Now, currently, there's nothing happening in Thai society, in Thai border between Thailand and Cambodia. Now, I want you to see the way in peace conflict studies taking focus on conflict management in the past until now. So if you take a look since 1990s until 2010s, we can see that there are 3 approaches. The first one is the bilateral management. So as I mentioned, there is MOU 43 as well. So they set up something like so-called the JBC, Joint Border Commission. It's the technical joint committee that trying to demark the boundary, to demark the land. And it's very interesting. I will tell you later in the next slide how to do later. But the second mechanism is GBC, it's General Border Commissions. It's the military coordinations and to reduce the tensions. And the last one is the Regional Border Commissions. It's like the regional military personnel that they're working in the regional level, like legitimate 1, legitimate 2, legitimacy 3. And also we have the ASEAN as third-party facilitators. So you can see this case in 2011, ASEAN diplomacy, shuttle diplomacy by Indonesians, and they try to consult with UN as well. But very interesting move by UN. UN that time believed that ASEAN is the right positions. They trust ASEAN to manage the border situation between Thailand and Cambodia. But as I mentioned, at the end, it failed by Thailand sides, by Prayut Chan-o-cha decided to not let the observer from UN to join to see the border area. Also, that's the situations after the ASEAN mechanism failed, it go to the ICJ. So ICJ tried to prove many things since 1962, only give the temple to the Cambodia, but leave the land to discussions. In 2011, after there is a crash, ICJ announced the demilitarized zones, 17 kilometers. And in 2013, again, try to give judgment that you need to discuss, to talk, and some map that I mentioned, the Annex 1 map earlier, should not be the issue for Cambodia to use again. So let's say that ICJ since 2013 saying that two countries should negotiate to each other. Okay, so let me go in details about the conflict management bilateral approach that Thailand and Cambodia has. The MOU 38 first is the idea that to set up the GBC and the RBC. And in GBC and RBC, they're saying that we should have the JBC. So the MOU 43, it set up the committee called the JBC or the Joint Border Commissions with the sub-technic group called the Joint Technical Subcommissions. It is responsible to determine agreeable locations for the boundary pillar. Sometimes some pillar has lost, sometimes this area it is undemarcated. So that's why it needs JBC to jointly decide which pillar belong to Thailand, which pillar belong to Cambodia. And in the old days, it's very nice that if Thailand say, okay, I can give this part to you and you can give this part to me. So that is what's going on between the current situation in 2025. If there is no more internal politics that intervene between Thailand and Cambodia, I think the JBC will function well and it will slowly and gradually to transform the situations. So most of the boundary between Thailand and Cambodia were already designated and demarcated based on the 1904 and 1907 treaty and the Annex 1 map. So there is only few kilometers that need to be fixed. And that area, two countries decided to use the JBC or the MOU 43 to fix the problems. Then the other mechanism is the ASEAN mediation that I mentioned. The ASEAN mediations, so it happened during 2008, during the 41 ASEAN minister meeting in Singapore. Foreign Minister of Singapore as ASEAN chairs tried to host the informal lunch, the receptions that let two countries talk to each other. So they never happened before that they used this kind of unofficial way to talk to each other. But anyway, it's failed. So the issue that it failed because Thai government wished to manage the emerging crisis with a long-term management approach by using a map with a scale to 1 to 50,000, which was commonly used in Thai, although it was unrelated to the 1904 and 1907 treaties. So that is the situation that it failed. Then ASEAN second attempt is trying to handle the crisis in 2011. After several armed crash took place on the border for more than 2 years, the Cambodian government in early 2011 sought an urgent meeting for the UNSC, thus bypassed ASEAN. But the UNSC called ASEAN again, as I mentioned, because UNSC believed that this problem should not be intensified or spill out from the regional organizations like ASEAN and want ASEAN to manage it. Then again, it failed. The last effort of ASEAN is by Minister Mati that I mentioned, that appointed by ASEAN after the UNSC asked ASEAN to do that. So ASEAN asked Minister Mati to be a mediator and to conduct dialogue sessions with both governments in early February. 1 week later, both countries prefer to settle the dispute peacefully and would enforce a ceasefire along the border and allow Indonesia observer to monitor a ceasefire, but eventually failed due to political instability in Thailand and the refusal by the government and the army. And that time, the person who refused it is Prayut Chan-o-cha and Prawit Wongsuwan, who is later staged the military coup in Thailand. Then that's why it's going up again to ICJ. So arbitration by ICJ after that, so they announced that the ICJ ruled out that establishment of demilitarized zone for 17 kilometers. After that, appointed Minister of Foreign Affairs again to facilitate for Indonesian observer in the demilitarized zone, abandonment of any activity that could prolong the dispute, compliant to the request for the interpretations of the judgment of June 1962 by Cambodia. All these things never resolve anything, just manage the situation, never resolve incompatibilities, never transform any conflict, but just to manage the situations. So it determined that the area that could be seen as the Pravia temple site belonged to Cambodia. Both Cambodia and Thailand were to negotiate with goodwill about the vicinity that should discuss. But unfortunately, they never discussed this until Pheu Thai Party came to be the government. Have you ever noticed that before this year, before Ung Ing became the prime minister, is there any one single news about Thailand and Cambodia sort out this problem? Never. There is no news about JBC, RBC, none of that. Meaning there is a linkage politic between Pheu Thai government and the Hun Sen government somehow. Anyway, the Annex 1 map that Cambodia claimed to have been valid for the past 50 years and which the ICJ had used for the 1962 ruling had been proven to be problematic to current use to determine the borderline. So let's say that the court saying that from now on Cambodia cannot use the Annex 1 map and you must use the negotiations. That was the past until the present. What happened in the present? So what happened in the present is that since the conflict mapping analysis that I mentioned, the peace building that they're trying to do. So since July 2025, there is ceasefire. So in Kuala Lumpur, all right. And US also tried to be the witness and tried to use cautions, mediation with cautions to pressure both countries with tax. Then in October 25 against Kuala Lumpur Peace Accord expand to ceasefire, but then it cannot stop the both sides completely. Let's say this is just for peacekeeping missions. It's just for crisis management, but never resolve the root cause of the conflict. Then in December 2025, there is ceasefire. If you take a look, there is a word of ceasefire, and they focus on ceasefire. Ceasefire meaning it's just for crisis management. No one wants to resolve the root cause of the conflict that I mentioned several times. So ongoing dialogue. Now I believe that this one is conflict resolution, not management, because it tried to use the JBC as the mechanism based on MOU 43. I don't know if we do not have the MOU 43, what we would have to become a mechanism to sort out the problem of some pillar or some boundary that's still missing. That's my own observations. Although there's some conservative government sides say that we do not have to use JBC because it's already finished since the 1904 agreement. Because the 1904 agreement already highlight that the terrains of the mountain Phnom Dom Rak already precisely saying that which area belong to Thailand and which area belong to Cambodia. And if you take a look at the material that the share sent to everyone already by our Cambodian friends, scholars, they highlight something even before 1904. That's why we have the 1904 agreement. All right. Okay. So I want to go to details. This one detail I already highlight already. What is the GBC and RBC? So I will skip it. But I will talk to why I believe that JBC is the measure of conflict resolutions. Because the step that the JBC is doing by using the JTSC is a joint technical specific commissions. They have this kind of methods. So the first step, the Thailand and Cambodia JBC, they will come together. Once they come together, the first step is the decision would be made to create the new pillar or not, or just to repair the old one or to set the new one. This is the first step. If both sides agree, then we go to the second step. The second step is the mapping. It would be taking using the aerial photography. Once the second step is approval, Then they will start the third step. The third step is they will walk together. It's a walking survey, all right? Once the walking survey, it will go to the fourth step based on the JTSC. Survey walk would be conduct as mean as a group verification. Then in the news, you will heard somebody say about verbally and report. This is the meaning of the first step, the fourth step. Once the fourth step is completed, then you can build the pillar. You can locate the pillar. So it's the step that is very systematic that both sides agree upon with this TOR 5 steps. So I believe that if we want to resolve the conflict, not manage, not the ceasefire, we have to use the MOU 43. Okay, my last topics is about my own ideas. It's about path toward peace and coexistence. Now, it's not conflict management just to cease the file. It's not conflict resolutions that to solve the incompatibilities, but it's about relationship and how we can live together. So I use conflict transformation approach. So before I decided to come up with some ideas, I reviewed some work, the successful case of boundary disputes, where have been successful managed, resolve or transform the situations. So there's a border dispute between Cameroon with Nigeria. All right, people move out and then they start to demarcation with the JBC. You can see everybody is using the JBC. So it's like conflict transformation is like you're using conflict management, using conflict resolutions and conflict transformation in the same time. Conflict transformation focus on relationship of the people that should live together. What is going on right now in Thailand and Cambodia is that young generation, children of two people hate each other. That's the whole idea. The narrative of Cambodian children, the narrative of Thai children, they have incompatible. So the whole idea is that we have to transform this narrative, which I will tell you next slide. But let me go to this case more. Burkina Faso on with Niger, what they do, they start to exchange village. There are overlapping land like Thailand and Cambodia. Instead of demarking first or use JBC first, they saying I forgot the way the Chinese manage the situation with Russia's to China decided to give some land to Russia first, and then Russia decided to give some land back to China. So I think what these two countries, Burkina Faso and Niger, is doing right now to exchanging village. And after that, they decided which village belong to Burkina Faso or which village belong to Niger. India and Bangladesh as well, they do not exchange village, but they exchange residents. Because both countries, they can speak Hindi or Bengali, whatever so on in that border area. So they use this approach. And then after that, they offer citizenships for those countries, for those people to decide. And then they start to join a strip line. Indian vs Russia's, okay, I forgot it. They use SEO as well. Like China and Russia, they use SEO, both sides giving their land to each other. And there's no more border dispute. Again, like Peru and Ecuador, which I would use as a case, they use bilateral development joint national park, all right? But interesting case here, I would like to show you about maritime overlapping area. Norway and Russia's, they do something very interestingly. They want to keep that land to not be clear, but they want to keep that area to be unclear, meaning gray zone, sharing resource. Meaning this gray zone, everybody can share. It's common use resource. In Thai society or in Mae Kong River, we have some idea called Khong Na Mu, or like common good to be used, you know? But we have to protect, we have to help each other to save this resource. They do not want the clear cut like, 200 nautical miles that this is belong to me, this is belong to you. No. A classic case happened to Thailand and Malaysia as well. JDA, Joint Development Area, between Thailand and Cambodia, between Thailand and Malaysia. Thailand has won successfully dealing with this point. So coming back to my first questions, why we can manage, resolve this situation with Malaysia but why we can't manage or resolve the situations with Cambodia. So I want to show you a real case of Peru and Ecuador. The same case after French left these two countries and left all these things in trouble, like Thailand, Cambodia. So they share space for corporations. The protected area created a zone for collaboration, moving away from direct territorial conflict. Then they start the delimitarized zone as a second step. So the ecology park was also delimitarized, reducing the likelihood of armed crash. Then they focus on peace building. So the initiative was driven by a desire for peace and cooperations at the local level, which was formalized by the government. At the end, I found out that the MOU successfully implemented because of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is behind all the scene at the end to solve this out in problems. So currently, right now, these two countries has no more territorial dispute because of the creative thinking, using the national park as the way to transform the conflict. So I want to adopt this concept and this framework. If we want to transform situation between Thailand and Cambodia, I adopt the three phases of power. I think right now, Thailand and Cambodia, they are using trading power. So do what I want, or I will do what you don't want. I think Thai and Cambodia using this approach for many times. And that's why it can't resolve the conflict. It can only manage the ceasefire to stop the war. But the way that we should take a look is about exchange power. It's soft power. So I think Chinese is very good in doing this kind of approach. So do what I want and I will do what you want. I think Thailand and Cambodia must adopt this kind of approach. And this approach will go to another approach of voting by using integrated power or relationship power. So voting saying that they will do what I want if they trust me. So this is what Shanghai Cooperation Organization is taking the principle, is basing on exchanging power, and after that, integrated power. So once China gives some territorial land to Russia, Russia also decided to give the land back to China as well. So I think this approach is very important. But as I mentioned, if I propose this idea to Thai society right now, a big bomb will drop in my house, for sure. So future models, I think we have to revitalize the bilateral mechanisms which demarcation using modern tool. Now they're talking about the new Leica lens with the satellite to do that. Even more precise, more than 1 to 50,000 scale of mapping. And again, I believe that GBC, RBC, and JBC as well will be the mechanism to resolve the situation. Because the ceasefire is stopped now. Now there is no exchanging files, no more. Just a drone, moving around, but that's acceptable. Nobody dies. But now to resolve the root cause, GBC will be the main mechanisms. And I think the hybrid legal political approach, I think ASEAN is still very important. I think UN, UNSC still believe that UN is the main regional organization that should solve these problems, providing ongoing new opinion or practical arrangement. I think there are many mechanisms in ASEAN that can work, but I think the leader of Malaysians, since he was chair, I think he do not use many mechanisms in ASEAN quite much as possible. And I'm very looking forward that if Singapore become the chair, will have more integral role to do that, or even Indonesia or even Philippines to do that later. So enhancement of ASEAN role, I think, is very important, and to use the Treaty of Amity of Cooperation and High Council is still the options that we still have things to do with it. We can use these options. So the last one is a cross-border community engagement. I think cultural heritage cooperation, youth academic, exchanging local trade zone or border pass, which is not now because Thai society do not want to open the border right now. But I think sooner or later, people will have to think about the word of coexistence. people will start to talk it. So it's a good time for this network to think about if we set up some management model, some transformation model, and prepare it for ASEAN, what would that be? So from my previous slide, it comes to my model, what I want to do by using conflict transformations. So I would like to adopt what my book chapters has in the old times about the present opportunity, boundary management by economic corporations, mixed cultural and national nomination plans. In the old days, there are a lot of things that we use economic as the means to bring peace. And I think now we need more things like cultures, like nature nomination, national parks, mixed cultures to do that. How we can do that? I think we have, because now the conflict is escalated. It's not just on the land. It's not just on the marine times. So we should design a crescent opportunities in the northern crescents, central crescents, and southern crescents. In the old days, in 2008, only Parvihir province and Srisakhet province, it's very small. So that management is enough in the old days. But now it's spill over, it escalate, it expand to like 5 provinces, the whole regions of eastern part of Thailand already, and some part of Cambodia already. So how we can use this bigger present opportunities covering from the land going to the sea. And I think this is another way out. Of course, it's still very vague, but this is the model. This is the model. We can use medicals, we can use educations, we can use economics to transform this area. The second model that I have, and this is quite I would say new ideas. I don't know anyone would think about this. I would like to set up the University for Peace, like in Costa Rica or like in Hiroshima. I think the UN set up this university for some purpose. And I think in Southeast Asia, in the Mekong region, we also have many conflict, resource conflict. We have non-traditional security threat. We have new threat. We have many issues that we haven't thought that maybe it's time, if we want to use this ripe moment to transform the situation in the regions by using University of Peace. And because I was inspired by the case of Thailand and Cambodia, so I asked the AI to design what I have, what I think when I write about the narrative, what Cambodian kids would think about Thai people or Thai kids, and the ceasefire, the empathies. So I think the core proposition for Peace University in Mekong is very interesting. No need to be in Thailand, but it needs to be in the Mekong regions. So from the latent tension, the mistrust can be shared and learning and dialogue. And I take a look that in curriculum in the Peace University in Costa Rica or in Hiroshima, it has been backed by some narrative, some historical issue. And I think it's time to have this university in this region. So in this case, I think it's the transformations, not just to resolve the incompatibilities, but how those people will live and develop and transform the region as a whole. As Mikio mentioned that ASEAN, if we talk about ASEAN now, we are friends beyond frontiers. But now we know that each country in ASEAN, they want to be the best. They want to be number one. Why can't we let each country be good in one thing and another country be good in one thing? And I think it's a misdirection now in higher education institution when we talk about ASEAN studies, that we should learn from each other because we can be better than our friends. So I think it's time to set up this kind of things. At first, I believe that ASEAN could do ASEAN University, but I do not have hope with ASEANs. So I believe that in the higher ground, I think UN and with scholars can do this kind of transformations to bring University of Peace in the Mekong regions. So that would be my last slide. So I would wrap up that the deep historical root clarity on the treaty map narrative is essential to reduce the misperceptions, and that is requiring the conflict resolution by the JBC. The trickle, we as the root cause incidents ignite the violence war because the deeper incompatibility remain unresolved and it need conflict transformations, later steps. Multi-level peace building is required. Diplomatic, military, legal, and social tracks must work together. And I think we are 1.5 track to merge many things now together. And the regional global actors, I think ASEAN still playing a very important role, but hopefully that if the new chair is more active to use some unused mechanism like High Council in ASEAN, it could maybe solve many problems. Because if this thing happens, it proves like the other side scholar prove saying that ASEAN is fail. ASEAN way is fail. All right. So the new architect of ASEAN, architecture of ASEAN might need to be built by Singapore, by Indonesia, by using the case of Thailand and Cambodia as a best practice. So the path forward, as I mentioned in my last slide, reframe the boundary from a line of division into a platform of creativity and cooperations and shared development like two models. So that is my all presentation that I would like to share with you. Thank you very much for your attentions.
Okay, Nishan, thank you very much for your very, very comprehensive and also very impartial presentation and analyzing this current conflict between Thailand and Cambodia, and it's so comprehensive and huge. I can understand and what you say, but maybe that is not the case for other participants. Yeah? Especially you adopt the approach of peace and conflict studies. This is quite unique compared with normal international relations theories or strategic theories, yeah? Strategic studies. And this is quite unique, I think. And maybe other participants may need some time to digest what you have presented now. So maybe before I will maybe look for the comments or questions from other people. Maybe can I ask you a few questions? Yeah, just maybe. And while other participants are maybe thinking about the comment and the questions, yeah. So the first thing is that, so it look like the current crisis, yeah, and the recent crisis triggered from the ground, right? And the ground means the military forces of both countries. Yeah? There are certain incidents happen, then that one easily maybe translated into the military operations, yeah, right? Skirmishes, right? Between them. So my long time idea about the Cambodian border is that, and they have been and stationed, both countries, military armed forces are stationed very close to each other. So I was expecting that both armed forces have developed certain kind of the valued relationship among themselves because of the proximity of two armed forces, right? And then they maybe personally become friends and whatever, right? And then the maybe understanding and everything. Yeah. But just small things may and they immediately escalate. Then that means this kind of thing, valued relationship, and including the confidence and trust, yeah, and between the two armed forces, not well developed. And so I was just wondering actually why something like this, in spite of the existence of the GBC, yeah, and the general and border and committee, right? This one is mostly engaged in improving the relationship, right? and this one. And also maybe to develop the mechanism of crisis management. But apparently this crisis management mechanism, maybe conflict prevention mechanism kind of failed, yeah, and recently. So I'm just wondering why like that, actually. And another one is that, and in 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 July, I think so. The former Thai Prime Minister, I forgot her name, the daughter of Thaksin, yeah? and she had a telephone conversation with Hun Sen, right? And then you mentioned, and she called the Hun Sen as uncle and something, and she took the very conciliatory gesture, right? And then this one revealed, right? This one was revealed by Hun Sen himself, isn't it? Then what motivated Hun Sen to review this one? Yeah? This is very, very strange, right? Isn't it? And considering the close relationship between the two families historically. So maybe you maybe hinted something. Maybe recently the relationship between the two families are not so good. This one. Maybe can you give your view on my two questions? Yes? While other
Okay.
people are thinking about the comment. Thank you.
Okay, so the first question is about why the crisis management mechanisms fail. And the second one is about the relationship between Thaksin and Hun Sen relationships. So I want to answer these questions as a comprehensive one because it's connected. As I mentioned, the linkage politics. My first question is that why these border disputes always happens with Thaksin regimes or Thaksin administrations. Why it never happens with, of course, military or Prayut regimes. Why it never happens during the times that Prayut Chan-o-cha was the prime minister. And I think when we talk about the linkage politics, there is a relationships, and that relationships is the relationships that I believe that is the point that both countries lose some benefit. They lose benefit because of personal position, personal interest, and it's escalated. One observation is that once Prime Minister Pan Hong Tao was removed from power, then Hun Sen dropped to attack Thailand in that case. So the GBC actually it's functions all the times, but normally on the ground, those two military, they are friends. They talk to each other. But once the military has been directed from one high leader of one countries, so it's decided to be like a plot to instigate the other government or for our own country interests. So in my opinion, it's about linkage politics that Thaksin regimes and Hun Sen regimes has related, and they have missed the positions, and it become personal interest to transform to national interest, and it leads to malfunctions of the GBC, RBC, and JBC. And of course, another point is that I believe that in the unities of the government levels and the military level in Thailand also not united that much. That is second point. Also, the third point that Hun Sen decided to, it's very clear to release the record clip voice is because as it is the ways to destroy or to force Thai government under Thaksin regimes to give something back in return in order to, to let the situation prolong. So that's my brief informations.
Okay, thank you very much, Nichan. So there are three people raising hand. I don't know who raised the hands first. Maybe maybe from
According to the order, the professor, the Watson first, he raised his hand.
Sorry first. Okay.
yeah, please,
Yeah,
then
a
please.
bit shy.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, it's
Great.
please.
Thanks very much, Phil. Thank you very much for your talk, very detailed talk. So I have a few comments and then a few questions. I like the way that you distinguished between peace and conflict studies and international relations, and you're hinting a little bit that your definition of peace is not simply the absence of war, but something more substantive than that. And I like the way you kind of link that with the contemporary issue of the ceasefire, Donald Trump and the role of the US and all this. A very interesting point, which I think is often missed, and you picked up on this, the idea of scaling. I think that's in the mapping, I think that's a really fascinating area in terms of the agreements on the scaling of the maps being used. And I suppose that also links in the question of GPS and the kind of the detail that's required for this. And I think the other point you raised very nicely was the role of UNESCO, the kind of ironic position of the UN here, that countries will contest and conflict over who has ownership of UNESCO cultural sites, which of course brings up all issues of identity and chronology and nationalism, which you mentioned. So my questions are firstly, you're quite critical of ASEAN, and I can see where you're coming from on that. And this concept of non-intervention. So my question to you on that is there a kind of contradiction in terms here where the ASEAN way is all about non-interference, non-intervention, but in order to think about non-intervention, you need some kind of agreement about where borders are before you can have the concept of non-intervention in sovereign territory. So I'm just wondering if you could expand a little bit about on your approach to ASEAN here and whether it's kind of trapped in this, I suppose, Westphalian trap, which essentially is a kind of European idea of borders and states and sovereignty, which is kind of ironic in the sense that many post-colonial states have taken on that mantle of the UN sovereign system. My second question, you mentioned a lot about domestic politics, which I think is very fair. Is there a possibility here? And I'm not know anything much about domestic Thai politics, but in the sense that the politicians you mentioned saw an opportunity here to weaponize the identity question and the border question, and it kind of ran away from them a little bit. They kind of opened that up, and it kind of spiraled out of control. And this is all about trying to put that back in the box again. The other point I want to focus, you mentioned towards the end there, this idea of borders. The idea that border is not just a division, but a border is a place where you can expand. So from that, two areas emerge. Firstly, are you saying that there is a specific border identity of people living around the border, which is separate from the rest of the country? Or are you saying that concept is problematic, and what we need to think about is that borders are not for division, but a point where peace can evolve from? And I think the way you mentioned the education issue there was quite important. And the reason I think that's significant is that's very much the debate we have in Korea about the Korean DMZ, about whether the DMZ is a separate space, separate from North and South Korea, or it's the location where maybe peace or ecology or NGOs and civil society can begin to begin a kind of grassroots form of peace. And I noticed also very early on you mentioned the concept of human security as well. I think it kind of links to that. So those are my comments and questions. But again, thank you very much for a very, very detailed presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So you asked three questions. The first one is about the ASEAN way and the non-interference principle, right? And
Yes.
also nation seems to be rather critical. Yeah? And also I personally feel, especially I thought this last year's Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, the mediation, I feel it's a great success, but in your view, totally different. So I want to know more about this one. Yes. And second, the domestic politics, right?
Yes.
And the politician weaponize the nationalism and identity issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the third question is border identity. Whether maybe the people on the border area, across the border, whether they have their own identity or different identity different from the state.
The idea which you mentioned that the border traditionally seen as a division, but maybe we can think of a border in a kind of different way rather than simply a kind of division in the international system. Actually, one more point on that. Sorry, one more point.
Yes,
is this border being talked about? Does that represent a division between a kind of a US-centric version of IR or maybe a Chinese version. I think the BRI was mentioned early on. So is the Thai border, I suppose, again, like the Korean border between North and South, it's not just a national border or regional border, it's a wider global border between two very different systems, understandings of what borders and sovereignty essentially are all about. So kind of a supplementary question there a little bit. But yeah, the question of what is the border? What do we mean by a border? It's not just a division. It might be something else. And I think that the conclusion was, that was a really interesting question at the end of the conclusion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, please, Nichan.
Okay, so I'm not saying right or wrong, but in my opinion, the first one about the ASEAN Way, when I think about ASEAN Way, I think there are 4 components that form as ASEAN Way, and this ASEAN Way is based on the Treaty of Amity of Corporations. I think it's founding from that. So the first principle is about non-interference principle, of course. As I mentioned, that it's coming from the Treaty of Amity Corporations. It's not only meaning that it's meaning interfering of the state sovereignties by the border or land, but it's meaning that some government instigate or intensify something by media, inflame some situation from one country to another countries. So in non-interference principle in the ASEAN's way context, in my opinion, I believe that it's not just lead to encroaching or occupying by land. I give you one example 2 days ago, because Thailand, and it's related to the second questions that you asked about domestic politics as well in Thailand. Because we're going to have elections on the 8th of February, and then suddenly one minister of Cambodia gave interview to the media saying that Thai people must not or should not vote in the elections to the current government. And the current government has one minister which is very active, Minister Singhaputargun, all right? And what Minister Singhaputargun, after listened to that interview, he replied back immediately on that day saying that this is this interference. This is the way that I think the ASEAN perspective, ASEAN way is using. And this is just one component of ASEAN way. But there are other 3 components of ASEAN way that need to be framed based on tax. I think the second one is very important. And it's very clear that the case of Thailand and Cambodia has been destroyed. The ASEAN way has been destroyed based on this case. The second one is tolerance. There is no tolerance. And this is the only case since ASEAN established since 1967 that no one lose tempers or exchanging rockets from one country to another country because you don't have tolerance, right? And the third one is violence. Of course, it's war. Tolerance is one thing, but if you don't have tolerance, then you decided to use weapons. You decided to use a war to resort as the way out. And of course, the last one is the ASEAN summit, the consensus, which is at the end anyway. And it bringing to my observation before about there are some other mechanisms in ASEAN that need to be used. So that is my first and second questions.
Yeah.
And for the border, again, I do not use the narrative like, the sovereignty lines here, because this is a peace approach, peace conflict approach. And I'm living in the strategic locations of Mekong, sharing river, sharing neighboring country with Laos and Myanmar, and people are crossing, people are generating GDP for Thai people. Now in Chiang Rai, we have a lot of Shan people, the Thai people who the culture is very close to Thai, be able to communicate in Thai. And they come and they migrate with the push and pull factors, and they come to work instead of Chiang Rai people. Now Chiang Rai people do not work in the noodle shops. They do not work in gas stations, but they work in 7-Elevens. They work in big department store. They do not work in this thing. So it's to be fair that I think if we adopt the ASEAN approach, that we are ASEAN citizens, we are not Thai citizens, and both people, both countries, they stimulate economics for each other. So in this meaning of border of ASEAN borders, not Thai borders, not sovereignty or sovereign state, as a nation states, we cross, we change, we go together, we move, we marry, we talk. In the northern part of Thailand or even in eastern part of Thailand, it's the same thing that it's happening. So my border, by using the Mekong regions, I see it as upper stream state and lower stream governance system that's going on now. If we adopt the common resource good, or even like what I present to you before about the successful case of Sweden, that they do not say that precise place that this is belong to me or belong to you. This is ASEAN style. I mean, people who live in this area, but we need to protect each other, like ethnic minorities, that they do not need the legal approach to frame you, or even, of course, we emerge, we establish later than EU. EU is the legal bindings very clear. So the rationalized perception or state of EU or Western people and the emotionalized Thai people or ASEAN people and framing ASEAN thing with the tag is something else. So that is my, I don't know I answer you or not, but this is my perceptions to answer you how I perceive border based on the common good resource that we need to take care. Or let me give you one example about ethnic minority called Karen. Karen always been blamed that burn the forest, but actually they preserve the forest as well. So there's some cultural heritage or wisdoms that we haven't been looked through this enough. That's my answer.
Yeah, that ecology thing's a really interesting one as well, that kind of influence the environment. Great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Nichan, for your response. So talking about the border, I have been developing the idea of the border. Maybe previously the border in ASEAN was the dividing wall, right? Dividing wall, yeah, and especially in the early period of the state formation and nation building, right? But now the border is changing its nature from the dividing wall into the interface and facilitating the positive exchange across the border. So from that point, and I think it's quite interesting. Okay, thank you. And okay, now I go to the second person, Mr. Apichai. So you raise the hand there, and please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Nichan, and hello again. Happy New Year to everyone. Yes, okay, I have a few things. I think first of all, back just a little bit of comment on the border clash, to give it a little bit of another dimension to it. You know, the primary weapon that the Cambodian used against Thailand was this B-21 rocket launches, right? I think those were their main. They don't have an air force, by the way. Very interestingly, Cambodia doesn't have an air force. Okay, so they are very disadvantaged in this case, whereas Thailand do. And what do they use? American-made F-16, right? Plus Gripen, Swedish-made Gripen. Okay, so I mean I don't know the full story, whether there's also this big power behind it, saying, hey, buy our weapons, and so anything, something like that, especially with the Trump government, you know how they operate. Okay, then I have back to maybe to Ajahn Nichan. You mentioned about maybe pollution problems, especially up north where you are, right? In the border trilateral area between Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand. In the dry season, pretty soon, in a month's time, you see a lot of. We're already having PM 2.5 in Bangkok. So pretty soon when the agricultural lands get into the burning phase, then you have that problem coming back, I'm sure, despite what the government assures. So you have basically, it's seasonal. So this is dry season and just towards the end, then they will have to, burn and then the crops, which is easy. I think it all comes down to good governance and compliance, okay? But you have that problem. And then lately, I think You know that we also have water pollution problem, especially from the mining, illegal mining now. And the problem with this is that it's happening along the other side of the border in Myanmar, in the Shan state, and where the military junta doesn't have any control. So these are actually ethnic borders bordering Thailand, many ethnic groups that are actually still very independent in that sense, where the military junta doesn't have control. And because of that, there's a sort of a vacuum. Yeah, you want to say, hey, Myanmar government, which is a junta now, why don't you do something about, because what they do is very, very hazardous. This processing is illegal and no safeguards. All the processing of these, minerals, they lead to very poisonous heavy metals, arsenic, lead, you name it, mercury. They all flow into the river, into the tributaries, and this flow into the Mekong, right? So now I think recently there's a very big concern that because then the river becomes contaminated, people cannot drink from it, cannot bathe in it, and then and even the ecosystem, like fish, become very puffy and unusually because of poisoning. Okay, so if fish gets poisoned, I think humans certainly would get poisoned too. Especially when you eat the fish. So it's now becoming a very emerging big problem. So, but that's in that trilateral area up north where Ajahn Nichan originates. I hope somebody is actually following up and trying to see. But they then say there's a Mekong River Commission, which looks after the 4 countries. But unfortunately, Myanmar is not a member, they're an observer. But we can't depend even on Myanmar, the government. We have to know how to fight against these criminal elements. There's a lot of transnational organized crime in that area. Okay, so that's one thing. And then coming to ASEAN, I hope Ambassador Jenny is still around, and maybe he can comment a little bit because he used to be what you call it, the executive director of the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation. I don't know, many of you know about it, but there is this entity, a body, which is established for, I think, about maybe a decade or more already. And I can read to you what it basically does. It says the Institute, AIPR, that is a think tank / research institution on peace, conflict management, conflict resolution, post-conflict peace building, and reconciliation. Okay, so certainly the subject matter is there within that mandate. And what it does, it says mandated to be an ASEAN institution for research activities on peace, conflict management, and conflict resolution, promote and/or fulfill activities agreed in the ASEAN Political Security Community blueprint, as well as possible additional activities. Now, I haven't, maybe I'm wrong, but I haven't seen much raw activity that IPA has done over the last 6 months or so when the conflict between Cambodia and Thailand erupted or emerged. So maybe my question to Ambassador Jenny, if you don't mind, he's no longer the head now, but maybe from your past experience, whether you see IPA playing any role at all in such border conflicts or clashes? And if so, how can we enhance the role of IPA? Okay, just like ICHA, which is the Human Rights Commission, it has both promotion and protection functions, but we all know that the role has been restricted by member states to be just more promotion than protection. Okay, I don't know what IPA's, whether it's in a similar situation or not, and maybe Ambassador Jenner can shed some light on that one. And then coming back to this Mekong and Cambodia, Thailand, and also the other Mekong countries like Laos and Myanmar, there is an Emerald Triangle Cooperation Framework. I don't know whether any of you have heard about it. What it actually does, you have heard probably of the Golden Triangle, which is up north where Ajahn Nichan is. Then there's actually an Emerald Triangle, which was actually already established 25 years ago in 2000, okay? And where is it located? It's in the border between Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand, okay? So it's on the Ubon Ratchathani in Thailand. And then in Laos, it's like Champasak. And then there is, in Cambodia, 3 provinces, Preah Vihear. Oda Menchai, and Stung Treng. Okay. Sorry, Laos also has Salavan and Champasak. Okay, not just Champasak. And in fact, Thailand has Ubon Ratchathani and Sisake. And in fact, that is the area where this current latest border clash erupted in May, because the soldiers were shooting each other exactly in that territorial area, okay? And then unfortunately, one Cambodian soldier was killed, and that started the whole thing rolling, okay? All you need is a little spark. Just like fires in the when you have the haze burning, you just need a lighter or a match, and there goes your whole conflagration, okay? So have to be very careful. But the idea that back then in 2000, when they set up this framework in the Emerald Triangle, the idea was to promote more, because it's a very remote area, yeah? It's actually it's a very picturesque area. If you know the Mekong, you know, that area, they have this, what we call the Niagara of Southeast Asia, where the Mekong River actually undergoes a fall, almost like the Niagara Falls in the US, but less dramatic, okay? Maybe only about 20, 30 meters high, but nevertheless, it's a large fall. It's also a crescent kind of formation fall, okay? Very nice. And there's also cultural temples and things, including Praviha. Praviha is also in that so-called Emerald Triangle area. So, but there hasn't been much done because infrastructure is poor and you need investment. They were trying to use that as a tourist area where you can have golf course and things like that. But, it never materialized. And now it became a war zone. So how is there a way to transform this war zone into a peace or cooperative zone? Of course, I'm not proposing that we even raise this issue now, because it immediately be shut down. The enabling environment atmosphere is just not there. But with Laos actually also, involved in this triangle, perhaps when the battle, hostility settles down, maybe in a year or so, I don't know, hopefully. And then with Laos sort of as an intermediary, maybe we can revive, and just like what this Institute, University of Peace, which Ajahn Nichan was saying, we can't do it now because it will be immediately shut down. So we can wait a little bit, but in the meantime, we start planning. Okay, what can we do to promote more peace and reconciliation and coexistence? Because in the end, we are bound by geography. We cannot run away from geography, and we will forever be borders. We have to live together, okay? So these may be some suggestions to look at. You can Google it, Emerald Triangle. Oh, by the way, there is another Emerald Triangle, don't be confused, which is in California state in the US. It's between 3 counties in the US. And in this case, it's the 3 countries that grow the most cannabis or marijuana, okay? So Emerald Triangle in the US sense is referring to that triangle. So don't confuse with the Emerald Triangle in Southeast Asia, which is what I was just talking about, okay? And then just one finally, on another example of where borders can be peaceful and cooperation and coexistence take place is actually, I don't know whether you heard of the Haskell Free Library and Opera House. It's actually located right on the border between Canada and the US, okay? Between Quebec and in the province of Canada and Vermont in the state of Vermont in the US. You just Google it, you'll find it. And what's interesting about this is that this library, the dividing line, is called the Derby line between the 2 countries, runs right across this building of library and opera house. And interestingly, the library has drawn a line across where the actual border is. But it functions as a library which is used by both sides, okay? So if you talk about education and things, I mean, I would hope one day we can also think of something like along the border with Thailand and Cambodia, or between Laos and Thailand, or Myanmar or Malaysia, or whatever, whichever country Thailand has borders with. I mean, if we can promote more of such, shall we say, institutions, structures, and education being one of them, then hopefully we can build up enough momentum and buy-in that eventually people would start appreciating that borders are not just dividing lines, but they are in fact areas of cooperation, like what Nichan said. It's livelihood, it's trade, it's friendship, it's family relations. So, I mean, those have to be restored and recalibrated and reinvigorated. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Apichai, for your very detailed comment. Maybe Nishan, maybe you will respond. Maybe rather briefly because we need to finish soon. But still, we have two people waiting, and also Zam wrote something. Kamal Zamang. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I
Sorry, I
also
took a lot of time. Sorry.
okay, so I agree with Ajahn Hub, and currently now I'm working on the research on the transboundary water pollutions from Myanmar, unregulated mining, and I'm building citizen science. I'm building citizen science, meaning how to transform by using ethnic minority, not using the G2G or the government, using people do that. And I understand that it is very bad situation in Chiang Rai is very bad now. No one dare to eat the fish in the Kok River that coming from. That's a situation. So Chiang Rai, in that sense, we have flooding, we have earthquake, we have polluted water, we have transboundary haze. We almost have everything that is non-traditional security, non-traditional threats. And on the same time, I think, in my point of view, if we take this in other aspect to see that if we transform this as a unit or the university or a cluster or anything, not using only political science, not using international law, but using peace and conflict studies, because the nature of peace conflict study is interdisciplinary anyway. So like here, we can solve the non-traditional securities. That's my comment, my response.
Good.
And of course, University of Peace is one thing, and I think Professor Sam and other people, you are like the big scholars here and could support to make this happen. And I agree with many issues that Professor Sam mentioned as well. Yeah, that's my comment.
Okay, thank you, Nishan. So now, Sunho-san, so maybe can you give your comment or question?
Okay, thank you. Okay, congratulate Dr. Nichan on your excellent research and your presentation. Because we don't have much time, I try to make it short. Okay, during the winter time, many Korean people they hope to travel to Cambodia or Thailand, but this is the season for their travel tourism, but many people cancel. Okay, they travel to Thailand and Cambodia. It's not stable. When I visit Cambodia, I have been to Cambodia several times, and in fact we held our conference much earlier than we held in Chiang Mai. At that time, the Cambodian colleagues, their friends, they tried to show us, showed us their very brilliant civilization. Okay, they're like museum, and they're like Angkor Wat or something. So my question about connection with Nichan, your presentation, you at the beginning you mentioned why it particularly with Cambodia, between Cambodia and Thailand, the armed conflict. Okay, you have like some kinds of a border problem with Malaysia and Laos or something. So I was wondering from my perspective, or more like a historical, some interpretation, different of historical interpretation. I think the historical narratives, narratives, because the Cambodian people, even though very not the kinds of like middle power or superpower, but they still very, very proud of their like history. Okay, that was my experience. So I wonder, you even though you mentioned conflict management, conflict transformation, very, very systematic approaches. But what do you think of the historical interpretation or narratives, or their each your history textbook? Okay, because I think it is a very similar case in our area, like Northeast Asia. When I visit China, Manchuria, the 2 weeks ago, I saw their museum in that, and the Manchuria used to be like Korean ancient kingdom. Okay, we always we thought so, but they always they explained is the Chinese history or something. There is some very different. Okay, like some perspective. So that is my one question, and it's not question, but I really in favor of your proposal and recommendation, building university for peace. Okay, really, that is a wonderful idea, and we have wonderful human resources here. Even the among our scholars here, they are, I think, very qualified to work for that. Maybe under the name of ASEAN or some anyhow, if you build there in the University for Peace, are really okay in favor of this proposal. Okay, that's my comment. Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Professor Kant, so for your question and comment. So maybe Nisha, so you will respond to his question. I think quick question, right? Question and proposal, right?
Yeah. Very quick one. I agree. อาจารย์วิทูล สวัสดีครับ I will go very fast. I agree with you that narrative of the Cambodian people, dignity, I already highlight as one of the major one as well. The Thai embassy was burned down about 20 years ago because of these issues. It's about of cultural violence. I think it's about that you are better than me, I better than you. And that's why I decided to propose that if we have the University of Peace, we can rewrite the narrative of becoming together. That's my first idea. My second idea, I'm not look like Thai at all, but I'm in Thai societies. I'm look like Indian in Thai societies. And in Thai societies, they accept more Chinese face more than Indian face, not like in Malaysia, of course, that they three ethnic stay together. So I have to stay with this kind of narrative for many, many years. But I also have lucky to have many education, whatever so on, the family background, whatever so on. But think about Hill tribe people, Highlander people in Thai society as well. That even more worse. All right. So I understand the perceptions that why Cambodian people think like that. And I adopt that to myself as well, that how I perceive when some Thai people say something badly about me in Thai societies, ethnocentrism, to be ethnocentrics. All right. But the worst person is the Hill tribe people. So I want to transform this narrative. Not just for Thailand and Cambodia, not just for me or with Thai people, or with Thai people, with the Hill tribe people, Highlander people, but we are Homo sapiens. That is my idea. All right. So that's my response. Yes, the whole idea that I have. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now, Professor Vitun, so your comment or question, please.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I have disappeared for a long time and I'm back today. I'll try to be very brief because now it's over time, I think. I don't have any question or comment, but I just want to share a bit of my concern and thinking about these issues. Since this conflict happened last year, I did not dare to share any of my thought in the Facebook because I have many good Cambodian friends. I have been to Cambodia many, many times. And I just feel that, I should not really say anything, bad about them or whatever. So I think, in your presentation, Ajahn Nichan, you mentioned mainly about what the government of both countries can do or should do. But my concern now is is more about the general public or the people of both countries, because I think the feeling and the perception of the Thai and the Cambodian now are very, very negative to each other. So I don't know how to deal with that. When I look at the Facebook, since last year, I have many good Cambodian friends, very well educated, but still they posted many things very negative about Thailand, and then I thought it really depends on what kind of information we are getting. In Thailand, we're getting one piece of information from different sources. But in Cambodia, from what I heard, they are getting mainly from their government. So this is, to me, is a big issue that created a lot of frustration and misunderstanding to both countries. That's why, now, we hate each other. So I don't know how to deal with that, for the general public perception and feeling. That's my first sharing. And the second thing I have been also thinking, because in this conflict, both countries, always said, in that year, that pagoda, that temple belonged to us. And then another country argued that, but it belonged to us before in that year and that year. Then I asked myself, how many hundred years we want to go back in the history? 100, 200, 1,000 years? Would that be useful at all to really argue that? Why can't we just focus on presence and do something on that? But if we keep looking back in the history, I think it's good to know the history, but it's not really useful to argue that, in that year, that used to belong to us, and then you invaded, and then, we keep going back and forth like that. If we do that in Europe, maybe, many European countries belong in the Roman Empire before. Do they want to go back that far? That is another thing that I think maybe, as an academic community, this is something that we should help people to really think about, how to deal with the coexistence at present. That's two things. Yeah, and then Ajahn Nichan mentioned about the ethnic minority. Now it's the burning kind of, the toxic environment, top pollution. This is another thing that it's not really about the Cambodian and Thai conflict, but it's about the knowledge of people who mainly don't understand what you call it, agricultural practices. I went to many, many meetings, and a lot of people blame the current. And then I said, no, you have to understand what the difference between shifting cultivation, slash and burn, rotational farming, they're all different. So this is another issue that if we are working on this kind of issue, we need to help people to understand different things, that they are not the same and they are not always causing pollution. Okay, I think this is what I want to share. I think the first two concern that if anyone has any idea, I'll be happy to hear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Bitun. So now, Nisha, maybe you may have some short response. And there are still two people. One is Zam, and he wrote something. And also James, my friend, our friend James. I think there may be two more, two more people. Maybe it's already past the time. So, but anyway, Nisha, can you make a short response?
Yes, so like Ajahn Vitun mentioned, so again, it's about not only about conventional threat, right? Mekong region is very complex. It's a lot of things, but can we find some new approach to handle this new narrative? What would be that kind of narrative for ASEAN? Not the old generation, but to move on from now to the next and next. And I think it covers environment, technology, AI, many issues. So I believe that we could do something with this network. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So now, Professor Kamaruzaman, so you have written a rather long comment in the chat. Maybe can you share your idea, maybe in a much short way,
Right.
maybe.
Hey, Mikio,
You,
I'm a
hi.
very long-winded person. I cannot say things in a few sentences, you know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
of course I know.
hello, hello everyone. Nice to see everyone again. Sorry, I was late. I was coming home just now. No, I now is I actually that's why I put all the things there in the chat box because I don't want to be talking for too long, you know. But I basically feel that this is a problem of leaderships, playing politics, in both countries, and then I mentioned also like irresponsible leaderships wanting political mileage and wanting to show off, their powers in both countries. In Thailand, it's always, I mean, the political parties, have to show that, how much they love the country and how much they are doing for the country, and then everybody's competing, in terms of identifying themselves as the one, that gonna make the country great again, and all those things. And the military is always there, also in the background, also playing their cards. So it's a matter of irresponsible politics by the political leaders. To me, it's nothing to do with the people. It's the people are the victims here, and they are being used by the leaderships, in order to advance, the causes of the leadership. So whatever we do, at that level, at the people level, it has to be done, but we need to consider how to get across the message to the leadership, that this is something, that is not useful, for both countries. And then at the same time, I also mentioned in my comment about the failure of ASEAN. And then I know that Mikio, you are a big fan of Anwar Ibrahim, but to me, he was not really successful in the sense that he
Oh,
was
really?
trying too hard, to push for some kind of resolution. But that also has to do, with his personal style. He is a bit of a show off, if you ask me. And then he wants to be able to show that as the leader of ASEAN, he's gonna get a resolution, for this conflict. But that's normal. Anybody in that position would want to do that. But the kind of solution that you want, you cannot force upon, these countries. It has to come from within. That's what I'm saying. It has to come from within. You cannot just say that, okay, the two of you sit down, we're gonna resolve this, we're gonna get, Trump to come in and witness and all these things. That's not gonna happen. You look at the events that that happened in Kuala Lumpur. You look at the faces of the leaders of Thailand and Cambodia. They were not happy at all. They were being forced to do something that they didn't want to do. So that's why the ceasefire only lasted, I think, 1 day or 2 days, and that's it. I know it's not going to happen. It has to come from within. It has to come from the people of Thailand, the people of Cambodia, asking, the government, the leadership, not to use them, to continue as victims in the conflict. And then in regards to the University for Peace, I also wrote there that maybe that's a good idea, University for Peace, but you have the UNESCO twin chair. I have already tried before to set up. It can be done. Between two countries, you need to find the two universities on each side, and then fill up the form. It goes to UNESCO office in Paris. It can be done rather than setting up universities for peace like Costa Rica. But the UNESCO twin chair, is something that is doable, especially because this is also in regards of protection, the UNESCO heritage, place over there at the border. So I'm sure that UNESCO, would be very much interested, to help out something like that. So and then lastly, unfortunately, irresponsible leaderships with rising nationalism bordering on fascism is happening everywhere. I mean, I don't even want to go to that, because then it will be a long comment about what's happening in the US and Trump and Venezuela and Greenland and all those things. I don't want to go there tonight. Maybe some other nights, but as people, we have to be aware, that this is the days that we are living in now, the rising nationalism and all these things. And I say bordering on fascism. We need to find out how to get out of this situation. But maybe we can do that, at another occasion. But again, thank you, Nichan, for your presentation. Good luck. It's not going to be an easy task to do because, like I said also, leaderships want something to hold on to be used as something. If they are in trouble, they need to raise this issue. So that's why Cambodian border issue is always something that they want to keep. That's why the problem in the south, I don't think they want to resolve it. Whenever they are in a position where they need to raise these issues to gain popularity and all those things, they will raise this up. So I don't think they want to resolve. Which is also a big problem. Leaders tend to divert our attention, to other issues. So they want to keep these issues. So maybe in the next election, we ask the people of Thailand to listen to the political parties who have the best ideas to create a more peaceful Thailand and a more peaceful relations with the bordering countries, and who has the best answer to the problem with Cambodia and to the problem in the south. And please, vote those people in, and hopefully we can move forward somewhere. Thank you. Sorry for taking too much time.
Okay, thank you, Zam. So the Nichan, maybe a short response, please.
My short
Nichan.
response is I agree with you with all the comments because I read all Professor Sam comments already, and yeah, I really interested in your idea about UNESCO townships because it's more doable, it's more easier to do, and I think the most one of the root cause in 2008 is about UNESCO, and we can transform that thing that already has something in the beginning to be transformed to something is more doable. I agree with you, Professor Sam, and hopefully you could help me.
Okay, thank you. So maybe last person. So our friend James. So welcome back to this forum. So can you please share your idea or question? That's short.
Yeah, thank you so much. As we are over time, but just to a comment. Thank you, Nichan, for your profound presentation. That is a topic of subject of interest. Not to be long, I think, Nichan, you said something. What approach to bring about these narratives? In my opinion and in my experience as a social dialogue peace building specialist, I have discovered personally that historical heritage and narratives shapes people's frames of reference. And the Cambodians and the Thai people have that historical heritage. And listening from what our colleagues and friends have shared, and we know that the government policies are always there and always weaponized and has been creating such a disunity among people in order to maintain their position in power. But I think that I always subscribe what Harold Saunder, the former Secretary of State during the regime of Jimmy Carter, said something very, very interesting. He said that there are things that people in government can do. He's limited that writing treaties and agreement. But he said there are things people outside government can do. It's about seeking to heal human relationship. So I think that the approach of social dialogue, which I have discovered, and what is it? In just a clear word, how do people change their narratives? I discovered that it begins by sharing stories and creating a safe space. And it begins by listening to learn the other's story life narratives without critics, accusation, and condemnation. And I have practiced this for years in a post-war reconciliation approach. And it's about discovering our common humanity. And we believe that an enemy is one whose story we have not heard. This is so important. So I'm in accordance with your beautiful idea of creating University of Peace or having that as an option to address this situation. So I would like to connect with you, Nichan. I have sent you my website and my contact so that we can share a little more further and learn from each other. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving me the space to contribute.
Thank you, James. So Nichan, your response, maybe short response. This is the last
Yes.
one.
I tell you one thing that actually I've been passionate by this topic for a long, long time since I worked with Mikhail. Mikhail asked me to do it. I never know anything about it since I studied with him. Then later on, it's nothing. It's like conflict avoidance for long, long times. Suddenly it pop ups like Sam mentions that it's about national leaders or nationalisms. They want to gain popularity or whatever, so on. Then I believe that we should, because of myself as minority in Thai society, and I want to make ASEAN citizens, not Thai citizens in ASEAN communities, like what you said as well, that storytelling is very important. I would like to set up some projects that maybe I have to ask for your help from everyone. How I want to exchange youths like these sessions, but it's small sessions with Cambodian and storytellings. Maybe what Sam mentions or many people mentions about that it's about G2G, it's about government and government. But the people and the people themselves may not hate each other. There's some other element that I never show you today because this will be too much. That people themselves, they cannot speak anything. I mean, Hun Sen forced them to not speak anything, but they love Thai people. They love the way that Thai people love Thai food, love to work with Thai people, economic development. They want to come back to Thailand. Educations, they want to have education in Thailand. We usually give scholarships to Cambodia students. So I think it should start to go to University of Peace or to go to Township UNESCO, what Sam mentioned. I think the first thing to go through that, to have some project in hands, is to have social telling between Thai youth and Cambodian youth without paying anything, using platform online. And I used once 2 years ago, I joined Sam's training course with Ajahn Sri Prabha Mahidol that time with your handbooks. That kind of thing could work. That's my own ideas. And I would be appreciated if everyone would like to work with this one with me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nishan. Oh, so okay, now it's almost 10 o'clock in Malaysia time. That means 11 o'clock in Korea. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
right.
And that way I handle the discussion. But I think we have very good and fruitful discussion today. Yeah? And also as for the maybe some new initiatives, yeah, I think it's good. I think, the Thai-Cambodian border conflict may produce something positive, yeah, like the university course and the peace studies network, and like the the Malaysia and the Indonesia confrontation in 1960s give rise to ASEAN, yeah, ASEAN. So I think this issue may create something positive, and I sincerely hope that. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm returning the floor to Sunho-san. So please, Sunho-san.
Thank you
Now.
very much. Okay, Pitun,
Just
you have any short some
just
words?
just really
Oh,
quickly,
Okay.
because you mentioned about youth, and I just remember last month, one of my peace fellows in the past, he did bring some youth. He did a research project on conflict between Thailand and Cambodia. So they brought like 10 young people from Thailand and Cambodia to meet and discuss the conflict issues. I'll send you that report. Yeah. See if that may be useful.
Yeah,
They have done.
I think and in the same time, Thai youth go to Cambodia. It's
Yeah.
organized at Chulalongkorn, right? With Nong Pun, something with. I think I remember that. Please send to me. Thank you, Kapachan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, for your wonderful presentation, Dr. Nichan. And Professor Mikio Oishi, for your service as a moderator. Okay, it was a wonderful forum, even though we exceeded our time. And I really the support the proposal, the University for Peace. Yeah, maybe we should contact some of the global leaders, even the president, Trump. Okay, please donate. Okay, donation. Okay, and also thank you for joining the late arrival James. Okay, from Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Africa. Okay, thank you, and Jam. Okay, okay, for joining us. As before just closing our all this session, as a small token and a sign of a token of appreciation, okay, a sign of appreciation, my History NGO Forum and Thursday Forum Steering Committee prepare kinds of like certificate of recognition to the presenter, okay, to this speaker. I'll just read briefly. This is a model, okay. I wrote it, okay. 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 After confirming all this, the correct, I mean this spelling or something, with my seal, okay, sign and my organization seal, I'll send it to Dr. Nichan, okay. The certificate of recognition, this certificate is proudly presented to Dr. Nichan Singhaputargun, lecturer, MEFA Luang University, Thailand, in recognition of his valuable contribution as a speaker at the 135th Global Thursday Forum for his presentation entitled Thailand-Cambodia Border Dispute, Current Developments, and the Path Toward Peace and Coexistence, delivered on January 15, 2026. The Global Thursday Forum is hosted by the History NGO Forum for Peace in East Asia, an international non-governmental organization based in Seoul, Republic of Korea, in collaboration with the Thursday Forum Steering Committee, comprising members from 10 countries. Song Kang, Chair, Global Thursday Forum, on behalf of the History NGO Forum for Peace in East Asia and Thursday Forum Steering Committee. Okay, all members are here. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you again for your wonderful presentation and your cooperation, Dr. Nichan. Okay, and the next forum, I'll just announce, okay, next forum is a monthly forum, February 26th, okay, February 26th. The title is The Future of Ukraine and Peace in Europe and the World, okay? It's also very timely, this topic, okay? So I hope to see you, many of you, okay, if you are available. And up to late, okay, thank you for joining us and staying here with us, okay? Okay, should say bye-bye and okay, see
Bye-bye.
you again. Bye-bye. Take good care. Okay,
You.
thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.